What's up guys, Goonerlista here, bringing you another episode of Ask Goonerlista. And of course, if you want to submit a question, you can do so in the following ways: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook or email. So as you know the format, someone will send in a question and I'll do my best to answer it. Of course, I'm not an expert in all areas, however I will draft in someone if I need to feature with me on the video, or maybe not. Like on this occasion, the question, I felt that I was confident enough and had enough knowledge to just tackle it myself. So as always, there'll be some random gameplay, and of course the gameplay is against a subscriber. So my good friend and fellow YouTuber TMC Gamer played a match against myself, and that's the footage for you in the background. So let's move on to today's question, and the question is: who do you think are the best 5 football players of all time, including legends? Now this is such a controversial question. You could ask this question to so many people in a room next to one another and they would all have different answers, because football of course is a game of opinions, and that's what it's all about, and that's why it's such an awesome game, and that's why everyone loves it so much, because there's just, you know, there's nothing exact, there's no science to it. But let me first put on my Arsenal hat and say, unfortunately, I'm not that crazy Arsenal fan that will name some Arsenal players in my top 5 players of all time. It was an absolute honour to see players like Thierry Henry and Dennis Bergkamp play for the club. However, I am realistic and they do not fit the greatest players of all time. Thierry Henry did well, but no way near the level of the other players in the game. He wasn't even, for me, the best French player that's ever been. So, you know, it's just one of those things. So let me talk about a few players that potentially could have made the top 5, or players that I really liked and they really had an impact on me watching football throughout the years. So a few players, for me, Ronaldinho was one who I considered. However, he was real and he was at an amazing level for about 2 or 3 years and was the best player in the world. However, he didn't have enough longevity for me to feature in the top 5, but of course he was unbelievable. For me as well, the Brazilian Ronaldo, again, for me he was the best striker for a couple of years. I haven't seen a striker as good as him with all those attributes, but he had dodgy knees, and basically, even though he won a couple of World Cups, he was not the same player since his chronic knee injury and since 1998 when he had that fit in the World Cup final. But he was literally unplayable and the best player in the world for those couple of years. And you've also got players like Marco van Basten. Now, he was one of the best strikers in the world, and of course, again, injury. There's a common theme here. Some of these players were absolutely unreal. They were amazing, the best players of their generation, but injuries cut their careers short. And you know, what can you do? Whereas you've got other players to compare them with who managed to stand the test of time and managed to put in, you know, years and years of top level performance. So who else is there? For me as well, there was a player who got, like, you know, won the World Player of the Year a couple of times, and that was George Weah. He was absolutely awesome, and you know, he never even played in a World Cup, yet he managed to win the World Player of the Year. That's how good he was. He was absolutely unreal for Milan. Even Shevchenko was unreal for Milan, but he's nowhere near the level of the others, and when you saw him at Chelsea, he was a shadow of his former self. So are there any other players? Of course, you've got someone like Cristiano Ronaldo. For me, not quite there yet, and of course, very unfortunate to be up against Messi currently. You know, he's always finishing second to Messi, who's just unreal. And so let me move into who else. Like, you know, Beckenbauer was another player who I considered, and he was very close. There wasn't, unfortunately, any English players for me that actually got into the top 5. But, you know, they were close. Obviously, got some legends like Bobby Moore. You've got like Bobby Charlton as well, who were like, you know, old school legends. Any of the newer players? And not really, to be fair. They haven't had an outstanding, stunning player who's just at that level for a long time. Wayne Rooney is no way near. And when you think of the expectations that was on him in recent tournaments, he's just disappointed every time. You also got players like Ruud Gullit as well. He had a decent career. You got Eusebio. There's just so many players you could list off. I've probably missed half of them. You know, you got players like Zico as well. There's just so many players who were absolutely unreal in their time. But you know, I can only pick 5. So really, I'm going to go for my top 5. Okay, so here we go. It's going to be controversial, but we'll start. You know, you probably won't agree with me, but it's my opinion, unfortunately, and that's how it's going to be. So number 5, and coming in at number 5 for me is Johan Cruyff. You might say, well, he wasn't the best player of all time. However, this guy was absolutely unreal. He, like, you know, his vision of football and the way he played it and the way he carried that Dutch team, that he was like, you know, the main man. He was just absolutely unreal. He's won loads of trophies as well. Maybe not as much as some of the others, but literally, you know, just for the fact of how he changed the game and the way you think about the game, he's in my top 5. Number 4 is, for me, Lionel Messi. Now, you know, a current player, he's absolutely unbelievable. you know, he's, for me, I wouldn't even want to include current players, but he's just unreal, and I think he will continue to get better, and he's got consistency. Number 3 for me is Zinedine Zidane. Absolutely unreal in terms of what I've seen. He's one of the best players that I've seen, like, since I've watched football, like, live, and, you know, he just controlled the game. He won so many trophies, won an amazing amount of trophies, and, you know, it's just, for me, Zidane was the master. He didn't even need pace. He's just unbelievable. His goal in the Champions League final was unreal. Number 2 for me is Diego Maradona, and for me, of course, this guy single-handedly managed to, like, win World Cups with pretty much a useless team around him, and he probably had the biggest impact from one player on a team that I've ever seen before. But however, why did he not make my number 1 despite me saying that? And that's probably the reason why people are still questioning Messi, because he hasn't won the World Cups that Maradona won. And the reason for me is simple, is that for me, he cut his career short with his off-the-field antics. You know, he was awesome. I remember that goal he scored when he literally run towards the camera, and he got banned for taking cocaine. And that's the thing, basically, if he had just lived a decent life and managed to keep his career going on, he probably would have been by far the number 1 player from all time, the best player of all time, and that just leaves number 1. Of course, I had never seen this guy play, but of course, Pele, if you look at all his stats, he's absolutely unreal. The guy won the World Cup 3 times. He's literally scored like hundreds and hundreds of goals, and of course, he is the ultimate role model as well. And for me, he just, like, you know, just gets there just ahead of Maradona. If Maradona basically had a few more years at the top and maybe won that World Cup, another World Cup or something, or another tournament, maybe it would have been him. So that's it, guys. Of course, you know, Lionel Messi, if he carries on the way he goes for another 4 or 5 years, he will be undoubtedly the best player of all, there's no doubt. And of course, all he needs to do is win a World Cup, and there won't even be a debate about that anymore. I really feel sorry for Cristiano Ronaldo. So that's it, guys. That was my opinion on the top 5 best players of all time. Thanks for sending the question. Of course, if you want to send a question, then, you know, there's all the information there in the description, and maybe we'll go back to the other kind of things. But that's it, guys. If you like this video, leave a like below, comment, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. 3 to 4 weeks, and I won't lie, she's developed tits over a 2-week break, so that got my attention.